SeatGeek. For all your ticketed events, from sporting to concert outings, SeatGeek has you covered. They even conveniently color-coded each ticket on their website from amazing to worst, so you can easily know which are the best deals. SeatGeek, the smart way to buy. Save $20 off your next ticket purchase with the promo code. Hey, everybody, I'm your host, Edgar, and they got the awesome on the Big Cat. My cool cat, put the balls up. If you're rocking the Big Cat today, we're here to talk about, should the Carolina Panthers go back to the 4-3? We'll talk about it, but first, Michael, quick before we get started, do you love the Carolina Panthers? Like I love the Carolina Panthers? Yes, no, maybe, sometimes, only on the weekends. Do you like Carolina Panthers? If you like, give it a jab. Let me tell you why the Carolina Panthers should or shouldn't go back to the 4-3. Let's get into it.
That boy is good.
Before we get started, make sure you subscribe, click the notification bell so you don't miss a video. Now, I've been doing Q&A sessions all week long on my Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, etc. So if you guys got a video suggestion, drop it in the comment section or on one of those social media platforms. Shout out to Marishkin Shavishkin. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but his topic was, should the Carolina Panthers go back to the 4-3? Great question. Here's the thing with the 4-3 versus the 3-4. When it comes to the 4-3, guys, it's primarily built to stop the run. It's primarily built for your linebackers to roam because you have a dominant up front line that can control the line of scrimmage, not allowing your linebackers to get touched. With that being said, in the back end, the secondary, the safeties act like an umbrella and give the corners a coverage in case they get beat. So it's good for your corners to kind of play off the ball, play outside, and not worrying about not having help back there. It's not a lot of responsibility on them. But here's the thing. With this 4-3 defense, you got to have the right personnel just like the 3-4 defense. Again, mainly up front. We didn't have the personnel to run the 4-3 defense. We had a whole bunch of hybrid defensive linemen out there that was built for the 3-4. And you want to flip them right back to the 4-3. Nah, it doesn't work like that. Okay, so you got to have two, not one, but two run stuffing defensive tackles. And no disrespect to Kyle Love or Vernon Butler. Those guys are fantastic. But those guys can't get it done consistently to make their primary defensive tackles in the 4-3. So, again, we didn't have the personnel. And listen, the 3-4, as much as you guys give it hell, I loved it. Because we're second in sacks right now. Now, the sad thing about it is, we're not going to be able to show the team with the second sacks in the NFL not going to be able to show it off in the playoffs. Sad. But my thing is this right here. If we get the right pieces in that 3-4 defense, we could fix this thing. Now, it got broke when KK got hurt. Nobody could anticipate that. And I kind of, no disrespect again to Gerald McCoy, I think Gerald McCoy was a little bit underwhelming in the 3-4 defense. But if we can get those things fixed, and like I said, Kyle Love and Vernon Butler, those guys, I love both of those guys. Make sure you re-sign them. We got to re-sign those guys as comfortable backups. But we need some real dominant force, young blood in there that can get this line moving. And I'm going to show you why the 4-3 could be just the right solution.
Message.
Now, in this first clip, I want to show you guys one of the vulnerable aspects of the 4-3 defense. If you look up on your screen right here, what you see is New Orleans Saints lined up in kind of a strong formation, all right? Now, you ask me, what is a strong formation? They have 5 linemen, okay? They go against our 4 down linemen, and then they have a tight end on the outside of the left tackle at the bottom of your screen. That lets you know right there that's the strong side of the formation, and they got a fullback shifted over there. Now, if I ask you, what will you expect out of this formation? I would be expecting run to the left, right? Okay, let's see what happens. Now, at the top of your screen, you got James Bradbury. What he does is he shifts with the motion of receiver. Even though that receiver shifts, guess what happens? He automatically, there's a switch between him and Dante Jackson. Now, Dante Jackson now takes on the outside receiver, releasing the flat. And James Bradbury has anything deep. Now, if you look on your screen as well, at the bottom of your screen, you'll see Eric Reed closer to the line of scrimmage. He's walked down, anticipating run. They're in a one high safety, all right? So now James Bradbury pretty much is playing off the ball. He doesn't have too much of help. He has one high over top, but that safety just doesn't know if the receiver's going to break left or break right. So pretty much you're on your own for a good bit until that safety can get there, or if he can get there. Once they snap the ball, you see right here, look at the linebackers bite up. That linebacker bites so heavy going to the left, like I said, because they're anticipating run. So you put your linebackers in a vulnerable position. Now you put your cornerback in a vulnerable position because you're anticipating run. It's so easy to read when you're going up against an elite quarterback. It really makes it makes him simple for him to pick and to choose where he wants to throw the ball. And you just got to be an athlete. You really got to be an athlete in this 4-3 defense in that secondary, especially in your linebacking core as well. Those guys can't get back and help. Now JB's back there by himself and he can't make the play. If you can't get a pass rush out of this 4-3 defense, it's going to be a long day. So, again, it's built to stop the run. They brought in They brought in Eric Reed to come down in the box to help out with the run. So again, if you put all your eggs in one basket, well, you left vulnerable somewhere else, and that is the passing game.
Message.
Now, because of the 4-3 shows its vulnerability against the pass, one of the things that teams do when they typically run a 4-3 is do what? They switch to nickel to cover the pass. If you look up on your screen right here, you can see Carolina got their nickel package in, gets a 3-wide receiver set. Again, if I'm Drew Brees, what do you think I'm thinking? I'm thinking that this team is going to run a passing formation. They're trying to defend the pass. So the best way to combine that or get out of that is to audible to a running play. Or if you already got a running play, you're set. Now, that nickel up top is responsible for the receiver in the slot. Now, we got Eric Reed walked up in the box. Again, they could be anticipating run as well. You got the linebacker snugged up as well. Now, if you look on your screen, remember I told you, when it comes to a 4-3, when it comes to 3-4, when it comes to nickel, it doesn't matter. Defensive line is everything, and KK gets a hell of a burst off the line of scrimmage. Now, the guard is pulling away from him, so he should be able to make this play if he scrapes down that line and makes this play, but he barely misses it. But that hell of a burst off the ball does get him in a favorable position. Now, next up, that'll be able to make the play is Eric Reed. Like I said before, he's down in the box. One of the things that I get on Luke Kuechly about, that I'm going to get on Eric Reed about right now, is you got to be able to scrape over top. A lot of times you hear me saying, stop going underneath blocks, go over top of blocks. Well, the ball is going away from Eric Reed right here. And you can't chase nobody from behind that run the 4-3. You need to scrape over top or scrape down the line of scrimmage so you put yourself in a good position. And guess what happened? He goes underneath the block. If he scrapes down that line, he's sitting right there in that hole to make that play. But again, undisciplined and does the wrong thing. And last but not least, what you're going to see is Luke Kuechly. Luke Kuechly has outside stretch containment. All right, so that's the reason why it looks like he's overrunning the play, but he's not. He has outside stretch containment. And by that time, if you look back in your screen, that guard that was pulling, guess what? It has Thomas Davis blocks. So not only do you got your backside help out the way because Eric Reed took himself out the way, not only do you got Thomas Davis block because he's got the pulling guard was able to get to him, KK doesn't make the tackle, and now Luke Kuechly is doing his job on outside zone stretch. Now you have a hole, right? That's right, you have a big hole, and it leads to a big play. So, again, in the 4-3 defense, you automatically have to switch to nickel when you're getting carved up in the passing game. And when you get to nickel, now you're sitting here isolating guys one-on-one if you don't get the pressure, if your guys don't scrape down the line of scrimmage. So again, the 4-3 defense leads to us going to the nickel, which also leaves us vulnerable as well because it's easy to read, okay? When you line up in a nickel, you're automatically thinking pass. When you line up in a 4-3, you're automatically thinking run. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it will be run or pass or vice versa, but you can also disguise yourself in zone coverages in a 4-3 or zone coverage in a nickel. But again, it's very easy to read when you're going up against a veteran quarterback. So on this play right here, I want to show you again, the 4-3 defense was set up primarily to allow your defensive linemen to keep your linebackers clean. A lot of those guys are wrong. If you look up on your screen right here, the Carolina Panthers use Thomas Davis to switch out with Shaq Thompson to cover a receiver. They feel like Shaq Thompson was way more athletic than Thomas Davis, so they went ahead and switched him. Now, with that being said, at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see the defensive end and also Kyle Love. These guys are going to get washed, all right? Now, when these guys get washed, what happens is there's no way in hell, first of all, that defensive end should be getting washed by a tight end. Now, Kyle Love is getting double teamed by a guard and a tackle. So pretty much you got a tight end squeezing down the line of scrimmage, which makes that tough on your linebackers now. Okay, if that defensive end is able to maintain his gap, there's going to be an alley right there so he can run through. Now, if he runs through the alley, look who he has right behind there. He has a linebacker right there, Thomas Davis. But because the defensive end gets washed down, the defensive tackle gets double teamed, now your linebacker has to come back at an angle and make a tackle. And he does make the tackle. Thomas does make the tackle, but it's 3 or 4 or 5 yards down the field. So, again, what could have been a loss or minimum gain ends up to a 4 or 5 yard gain because you don't maintain your gap or gap discipline. You're getting washed down the field. And again, man, so the 4-3 defense, if you can run it right, if you can have the right personnel in there, you can keep your linebackers clean. Your linebackers can end up with 150 tackles, 120 tackles a season right there. But you really put stress on your linebackers when you don't do your job up front. Okay, and that's the reason why I was saying we don't have the personnel to run it because we have too many inconsistent guys up front. Other than KK is probably the most solid guy up there, but when you start getting into the depth chart and looking like who can run that, that's not a whole lot. It's not a whole lot. So again, I got to emphasize, when you don't get pressure out of that front four in the 4-3 defense, you put pressure on your linebackers and other personnel to make plays. If you look up on your screen right here, again, you see Shaq Thompson switching out with Thomas Davis to line up against the receiver. I got to believe this is one of the reasons why they got rid of TD was because they felt like he couldn't run with quicker receivers, or so they thought. So this is what they do on this play. They shift out him to go to a smaller receiver. And if you look, we're not getting no kind of pressure up front, y'all. No kind of pressure. It's kind of just muddled all up right there. And it puts pressure on your linebackers. Even though we're in perfect position, we're in a 4-3 drop coverage with our linebackers. See how our linebackers bail out? But guess what happens? He still gives up 5 to 6 yards gain. You can't tell me that there's any quarterback in the NFL that won't take 5-6 yards a play on a little check down like that. Okay, so if we can influence that to 2 or 3 yard gain because he's under pressure, he has to make or maybe even an incompletion, I'll take that. But if you're not getting pressure up front, again, you're stressing guys out like the linebackers to try to make them a minimum gain. So I want to show you when you run a 4-3 defense correctly, that defensive line makes it really hard for that O-line to block them. If you look up on your screen right here, they're in a 4-3 defense. All the way at the top of your screen, you'll see Shaq Thompson at the far right. And what you're going to see is that up front job by Vernon Butler, he destroys this man. He destroys this man, and guess what? He calls penetration. He penetrates that gap. Not only does he get back there, you'll see Shaq Thompson comes in late, but that's how you run a 4-3 defense. You penetrate that gap. Not only do you penetrate that gap, your backside help also there as well. Everybody does their job, okay? It always starts up front. Pressure, movement, you know what I mean? Hold your gap and backside help as well. Everything works in synchronization, all right? Everything works in synchronization. You'll be able to get to the ball. And guess what? Now your linebackers, if they keep doing that, now your linebackers are going to be able to play freely if they do decide to pass because my defensive line is holding it down. Your linebacker doesn't have to creep up as tight as they've been doing because my defensive line is getting pressured. And the problem is that we haven't been doing that consistent enough. All right, so if we can get the right personnel, we can play more loose off the ball with our linebackers. But until we get that right personnel up front, you're going to see even in the 4-3 defense, our linebackers going to be hugged up because they don't necessarily trust our D-line to get it done. And when I mean they, I mean the coach. Now, on this next play, take notes, get your pen and paper ready. If you're looking for the exact way a 4-3 should work, look up on your screen right here. You'll see Shaq Thompson lined up against a receiver. He looks like he's going to be in the pass coverage. All that is a bluff. And let's roll the tape real quick. What's going to happen is the backside defensive end, which is Wes Horton, gets the pressure. Now he's going to force Alvin Kamara to go straight ahead. Now he wanted to bounce it out to the left, but he's not there because the pressure backside. If you look at Vernon Butler in the middle, he's getting double teamed. He's doing his job, taking up space, keeping those guards from getting to the next level. Now there's an alley, and look who's waiting in that alley, the boogeyman, Thomas Davis. Rocks his chimney, lays him down on God's green floor. This is how you run the 4-3 defense. Keep your linebackers clean. Get pressure with your defensive line. Allow for your defensive lineman to create pressure to make that linebacker redirect his path. That play was designed to go left, but because Wes Horton got pressure, because Vernon Butler took up a double team, and now you got an alley because Julius Peppers has outside containment, Thomas Davis waiting in the alley with a baseball bat and a spike chain, and he's ready to tear you up. That's how the 4-3 defense works. That's how it works. If we can get this kind of consistency, this 4-3 defense could be like the old Buccaneers 4-3 defense, okay, when those guys went to the Super Bowl. But listen, right now we just don't have consistency. That's the main word. And we don't necessarily have the personnel, but if we could, that's how it will look right there. Now, one of the beautiful things you could do out of the 4-3 defense is a lot of twist and stunt up front with your defensive line, making it hard for opposing quarterbacks to get their timing down. If you look up on your screen right here, they got a motion receiver across the field, and we're going to adjust with our linebacking core. We're going to slide over. Now, the way Drew Brees opens, he opens in a funky kind of step. You know what I mean? It looks like he almost wants to do a fake handle almost until he gets to the top of his step. Then he finally squares his shoulder as if he's ready to throw. Now, with that being said, we got burnt on this play before in a play action, and we end up paying for it. But this time, what they do is, with Vernon Butler here, they do a beautiful stunt, a twist stunt. Now, what I mean by twist is, one guy goes down into the line, other one goes around the guy. Now, that throws off the time for Drew Brees. By the time he does set his feet, he's eating a 300-pound lineman in Vernon Butler. So, when that defensive line, like I said, I can't say it too many more times. When that defensive line is on point in this 4-3, it really wreaks havoc, all right? And it also takes a lot of pressure off your linebackers. So, that's how it looks when you're able to run, twist, and stunt. I'm your host, Grande Gato. Also known as the Big Cat, my cool cats. Put your paws up. Get in the comment section. Do you think we need to switch back to the 4-3 or stay in the 3-4? My final thoughts are this, y'all. I really like the 3-4. I honestly believe that, we come a long way in this 3-4. I think we need to stick with it, man. I kind of think we need to stick with it because it allows us to defend the passing lanes as well as play the run. The only difference is we haven't had the personnel. I'm pretty sure if we get the right guys in here, they're playing this 3-4 defense alongside KK, I think we honestly could be that elite defense that we all know that we should be. All right, we're already second in sacks. We looked good early in the seasons when it comes to defending the pass. So if we can just tighten up this run thing, get some depth at those defensive ends, get some depth at that nose tackle spot, I think it would just be just fine. But the 4-3 the defense does have its points, has its highs and its lows, but I'm kind of iffy on it, man. I like what we're doing right here. Let's build on top of that. Let's not go backwards. But that's my opinion. Get in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe. I want to hear from you guys. Follow me on KeepPounding_TV on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, the whole nine. Let's get up out of here. Let the church say that. Don't forget to subscribe to the Carolina Panthers custom helmet giveaway video in the playlist. Once we hit 5,000 subscribers, I'll be giving away free a $300 retail value Marvel's Avenger Carolina Panthers helmet. Keep pounding.